Hey, what's up, everyone? This is your host, Rabbi Michael Schoening, and this is the Unconditional Podcast. Thanks for joining us today, where we empower entrepreneurs to overcome trauma, to become set in their true identity, and to keep healthy boundaries in life. We do all of this by sharing real and raw stories and expert secrets. And today our guest is Brian Swanson. Thank you so much for jumping on the show with me.
What's up?
Oh man, it's good to have you. I've been on your show.
I do know though. I got to catch up with you.
Oh, on the beard? Yeah, I might need a trim. Maybe I'll donate. Our first sponsor is, of course, Planet Duct, Southern Colorado's best air duct cleaning company. They even clean my home's air ducts and dryer vents. They're also certified by the National Air Duct Cleaners Association. When it comes to your family's lung health, hire the best. Check them out today at planetduct.com. Brian, what projects have been keeping you busy lately?
Oh my goodness, that is an open-ended question because I've got so many things that I do. But right now, because of the season, it's Halloween. That means everybody wants a DJ or a karaoke DJ, KJ. And so this next week, I am book solid.
Wow.
So and then I have a mini convention going on Sunday, which we can talk about later. But I've got a mini convention going on Sunday, so I am booked from Wednesday through Sunday constantly.
Yeah.
Then once November comes,
yeah, relax, turkey, pumpkin pie, all those things.
Yep.
That's awesome, and I'm planning to be there this Sunday as well, even having a booth and selling some cool nerdy
that's
stuff.
Right.
Doing some nerd stuff this Sunday.
Yeah.
So.
Well, our guest actually demands it. I mean, our guest is a nerdy kind of guy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's kind of important. Nerd stuff is fun. It's, just the nerdy community, I think, is a really accepting community. And that's probably what really drew me to a nerd community when I was a kid. And it doesn't matter, I can act all cool and whatever. I'm a rabbi and, certified licensed trauma specialist and, therapeutic foster parent. And what else do I do? Published author, award-winning national speaker. I'm a nerd. You know what I mean? Like that's just not going to go away. Like it was either you use this mug or a Star Wars mug.
Hey, you stole my cup.
Which one?
The one you just showed. You stole my cup.
What do you mean? I have like 5
I
of
can't
these.
find mine. You've got
Really? I got like 5 of these. I'll give you one of mine. One of yours. One of mine is probably one of yours. So, no, it's awesome. I love that you're, DJ, KJ. Those are really cool things. Obviously, you get out in the community. You've got the podcast. You've got different things that you're working on. You're a speaker as well.
Yes. In fact, I'm actually, I guess I was being serious with how full I am, but right now I'm bringing up my website, which is going to include a lot of the things that I do, whether it's graphic design, whether it's DJ, whether it's speaking, whether it's the authoring. It's going to have, at least in my head, it does. It's going to have everything, but it's not designed to be a typical speaker's kind of website where they just say, hey, book me and do these kind of things. This is actually going to give you the tools that you can actually, go to Amazon and get for DJ type stuff, or where you can get books or whatever, things like that. So it's going to be a little mix of everything. But I'll give it out there in case anybody's interested or sees this, 6 months from now. Yeah. It's actually going to be called PresumeU.com.
Interesting. I like it. PresumeU.com.
PresumeU. In fact, I was impressed that I even found it because, like you're unconditional, presuming who you are can determine where you go.
Yeah. I published The Unwind, 30 Evenings for the Entrepreneurial Mind. And for everybody watching, you can email me and I can send you a copy for $10, a digital copy. And it ended up being a lot more powerful than I thought it was going to be. It's just like I wanted to publish something that was on my heart, and I want to publish a book for people who don't like reading books. So it's 30-day devotional. It takes 5 minutes every night, but a lot of people are going through this book right now, and they are experiencing like deep life moments and finding the ability to change for the better in their habits and choices in life and their being. And I have being and doing that are 2 different days, and I have identity and purpose that are 2 different days. And I always say, I don't teach a purpose-driven life. I teach an identity-driven life because I believe proper purpose is a byproduct of proper identity. It's that, like, I ask people, like, who are you? Well, I do this, I do this, I do this. I have this title, this, I just did it a bit ago. All this stuff, but
That's
who
a
are you?
lead-in trick question, though.
It
Who
is.
are you is a whole different thing than what do you do.
Well, yeah, and it's like, but picture who are you? Almost sounds like, what are you doing in my house? You know what I mean? Like when we network with someone, what do you do? That's what we ask. But in a way, we're saying, what value do you or do you not give me? And I don't like that, because then we need to come up with all these things and titles and stuff to present value. Maybe if I don't have doctor in front of my name, I don't have my doctorates yet. So it might have less value to somebody, right? So it's like, but when you ask someone, who are you? Well, and then it goes back to the titles. Well, I'm a mom, or I'm a business owner. No. Who are you? My name is Michael. I was born in Salem, Oregon. Great. Who are you? I don't know. so is presume you going to give some answers for some people, answers of who they are, or what's the purpose of it? What's the identity of it before the purpose of
everything that I do? I mean, you've seen me speak before. When I speak, I always bring up questions, and those questions are a lot of times rhetorical questions that are designed to make you think. And presume you is going to be somewhat like that. Where are you now doesn't necessarily have to be answered except for by you. So that to me becomes a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
Who do you want to be? For instance, like I mentioned earlier, or you mentioned some of it too, podcaster, graphic artist, web designer, DJ, KJ, computer expert, networking, business networking expert, speaker, author. Wow, so many things. But we look at all of these things, these jack of all trades type deals, and we look at ourselves and go, well, what am I, and which one do I want to catapult to the top to be the specialist in? So you have to presume who you are based on those, that multitude of things that we can all do, and then take it to the next level. And I will, once I develop the website, once it's done, it will give you the tools to do that.
Yeah.
It could be as simple, like I said, as a KJ or a DJ. What type of equipment do I use? Here you go. This is what I use. You can buy something outside of that, but at least you have a good idea of the quality that I use for what I do.
That's right. And of course you were one of the speakers at the Unconditional conference we had earlier this year in 2021. And I love how that conference turned out. And I believe that the podcast is going to catch a lot of traction. I checked the Unconditional Facebook page. It said 917 this morning. I got a notification. 917 new accounts reached, or whatever it says, new profiles viewed, or whatever.
Right.
In the last 7 days, like nearly 1,000 people came across the Facebook page in the last 7 days, and I think that a podcast is a big part of that. And we're very low on the followers and the subscribers here on the YouTube. It airs on the YouTube as well, but I believe that's totally going to pick up. And we've already got
it all has to start somewhere.
Absolutely, I've been talking about it for a year and a half. It was just time to do it. And
well, the one thing that I've also noticed too, we can look at all of the metrics behind everything. We can look at the YouTube insights and the Facebook insights. We can look at all these things. And Michelle and I have been doing our podcast, Denim and Pearls, now for a little over 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Those numbers, 6 people listened. Then I go out into the community. Dude, I love your show. I keep hearing your show. I keep seeing your show. And these people aren't showing up in the metrics, but yet they're out there.
I think that's what's like the whole premise of like my book, The Unwind, is I thought, well, I need to write a really big book because that it will have value. I realized it has more value than 1,000-page, 100 chapter, whatever it is. I don't know, because it's condensed. I cut out the fat. I cut out everything you didn't need to know is not in the book. And I think that if you have 6 viewers or listeners, but it impacts a lifelong positive habitual change, and empowers them to be better. One person is enough.
Right.
You know?
Well, it's just like being here on this. I could say one thing or you could say one thing, and somebody is going to hear it as gospel, if you will. They're going to hear the angels sing because we said it. But yet somebody else has probably told them 100 different times.
Yeah.
And they've heard it from 100 different people.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm seeing a delay in here, so I'm following that.
I felt like I was watching like an old dubbed Japanese movie for a second there. But which is like another nerdy reference, so it works. It totally works with like I don't care. Yeah. I ended on Antoya. You kill my father. You're here to die. Which is not Japanese. I don't know why I did that, but it's just in my head. There's nothing. I was trekking
though.
Nothing there's nothing bad with ever quoting Princess Bride. So let me ask you, Brian. I mean, what is like a tipping moment that you had in your life that allowed you to step into being an entrepreneur or catapulted you into being more of an influential entrepreneur?
There's a lot to that question because I've been discovering myself lately. Sorry, doorbells. But
sound like a dog to me, but okay, I'll believe you. Yeah.
Well, there was the doorbell, then there was the dog, then there was the wife. So the neighbor actually does fresh eggs. So if you want fresh eggs, that's what she's doing.
I do have chickens, but they're not laying right now. So the cause and effect, right? First there was a chicken, then there was an egg, then there was a neighbor, then there was a doorbell, then there was a dog, then there was a knife. There was a wife, not a knife. Hopefully the wife doesn't have a knife. But you have, but really, if you want to trace it
back, which came first is the question.
The chicken, obviously.
Anyway, we digress a little bit.
Yeah.
What brought me into repeat the question simply?
Yeah, a tipping point. We're looking for a tipping point. I mean, what did you do before you started all these businesses and did all these influential things?
Oh, you were asking me what encouraged me to become an entrepreneur, basically.
Yeah.
I actually, when I retired from the military, I did 24 years in the military, and I started to go into the finance, or was already in the finance business part-time.
Yeah.
I was looking to build my network, or what they call your circle of influence.
Yeah.
And that one thing led to another, and I actually ended up owning a business where we ran networking groups.
Nice.
So at one point, we had up to 12 networking groups a week. That's a lot of networking.
That's
okay.
A lot of coffee.
However, I did not understand how to utilize that in order to make my business profit. Okay. I found challenges with that. I always kept asking the question, but I never really got the answer. But that went away. Owned a comic book store, owned a Comic-Con, as you know, called Galaxy Fest, both of which got shut down just prior to COVID. But that entrepreneurial spirit kind of took over when I started that networking business with a business partner and a friend of mine. That's where that entrepreneurship and that looking at the world as in a different angle, as opposed to go to work, go home, go to work, go home, take the weekend off, go to work, go home. Yeah. And I lived it. I lived in the military for that. But all in all, I think that's kind of what drove me. I was kind of forced into it, if you will, or fell into it.
Yeah.
But now being what I am now and having the experience behind me, I have the opportunity as a speaker, as an author, to share that information.
Yeah.
And over the last 2 years, I'm multiple answers to your question here, but over the last 2 years, what I've discovered is my background has been not necessarily as unique as I thought it was. I've discovered, my raising by my adoptive parents may not have been as flowery as I thought it was.
Sure.
And now I'm kind of finding myself at age 55 almost. I'm starting to find out myself and find out my life. And that's where a lot of these options come from, of sharing my experiences.
Yeah.
People can learn from it. I always thought I was just a normal guy and never had problems. And I don't, and I still don't, because it's a presumption of our perspective.
Yeah.
So getting over that presumption of my perspective, I'm starting to dwell down in it in the last couple of years and go, ooh,
There's more to it.
there was a lot more to my background than I thought there was.
There, sometimes
Which is where my book is going.
I noticed that my personality, and maybe some other people that are watching and listening, is sometimes we will keep ourselves so busy because we're afraid of the silence. Because in the silence, it's us. It's
Right.
us and our thoughts and our souls and our hearts and these things. Like one of the scariest things that I could ever think. Somebody said you should try this. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's a sensory, like you're in a really salt water type thing. There's there's no lights, there's no sounds, there's no feeling.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Something. Somebody comment below. I was gonna say deprecation, but it's not a sensory deprecation.
Sensory deprecation. That's it.
You get in there like your hearing
Deprecation?
sucks. Your sight isn't what it used to be. No, you get there.
We're going to remove all the surroundings.
Yeah, I paid for this. Yeah, so it's and then people, I'm like, I'm having a panic attack. Like people do have attacks in these things because you're dealing with, it's just you and yourself. Like I don't like hearing my own heartbeat. Hearing my own heartbeat freaks me out for some reason. So I make sure there's always something going on, even if it's an argument, and obviously it's not a healthy behavior that I'm working on. Right now I'm on day 7 of this 30-day personal overhaul that I created for myself, and I'm going through my own devotional, tasting my own medicine, literally. And it's in that point of self that is the hardest thing in the world for me to do. But I'm realizing it is only myself that's in the way. Like Michelle, she basically pranks me into doing the ultimate speaker competition. I think that's where I saw you first, where I met you first. I'm like, she's like, you really need, I'm not doing that. Getting in front of people and talking at a competition. She's like, aren't you a rabbi? Don't you speak already? I was like, yeah, I speak about 60 times a year publicly, and it's on YouTube. She goes, yeah, you're built for this. I go, no, you
It's
don't.
a lot different.
You don't know me, Michelle. You don't talk back to Michelle. That's what I've learned. So I try it. I got second place. And some of those people, I should have my trophy on the table here. Second place, won a trip to Vegas. I'm there. I'm talking with the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad and Chicken Soup for the Soul. And we're just at this table. And I'm like, these are people too. And I'm like, and then Bill Walsh is there. And I'm like, Bill, surrounded by billionaires in Vegas at a conference. And I'm like,
when did you run across Robert Kiyosaki at this thing?
It was actually, he didn't write the book. I found out. So a lady, if you look on the book, it was a lady, and I have his book somewhere, obviously, but she interviewed him. I don't know if I should be saying this on the podcast, but I'm gonna say it anyways. She interviewed him, and the questions that he answered became the book. She had all rights. She published it, and then he said, "No, I want it to be me as the sole writer." And she said, "But you didn't write it. Like, I interviewed you, you answered the questions, and I wrote the book." So after $17 million lawsuit later, now they're both on the book. So you'll see Robert Kiyosaki and her, they're both, and I think that is good. It's good that she is recognized. Obviously it's his material. Everybody knows it. And there's Rich Dad Poor Dad conferences and things that I've personally been to. And Robert Kiyosaki, he did the work, but she also did the interviewing. She collected the information. She put the money up. She hired the publisher. She did all of this stuff. And so, like, a farmer wouldn't come and say, I sold you the corn, so I'm harvesting all the corn. Like, there has to be some shared between.
You did all the work, though, in the middle.
Yeah, I know. Like, well, somebody does. So all that to say, it's good when people work together. And prayerfully, it's not when we go to court. Oh, we're out of time. Oh, my gosh. Brian, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you in the next show.
It's your show, dude. You can take it as far as you want.
I know. But there's a lot more we can talk about. There's a lot more I'd like to talk about. This was kind of like an intro to you. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited that you were willing to be on my show.
Next time I'll talk more about myself.
Yeah, next time. Yes. But I think we had some fun, and it's good to do that once in a while. So, second sponsor is
let me at least finish off by saying, check out Presume You. here in a few weeks, once I've got it all up and running, and Presume You will tell you a lot about me and where I come from and what you can do.
That's awesome. And when that's up and running, send me a link to it, and I'll go ahead and promote it on Unconditional,
of course.
all the socials. So I would love to drive some people to you to check out what it is. So speaking of driving people to check out things, we have Unshakable by Peter Lynch. It is the Elite Mastermind for men, and he has been a sales coach. So if you're a man and you're in sales or a leader, check it out at sleek.bio/unshakable. We also have Garage Fitness by Gordon Brodecki. He is a professional fitness coach, and you can get fitness coaching from anywhere. And he was also at the Ultimate Speaking
Mr.
Competition.
Buff, yeah.
And you can check out his website at garagefitnessspa.com. To learn more about the Unconditional Tribe and what we do, go to imunconditional.com. And Brian, thank you so much, man. Send me some links to what you have so far. I look forward to seeing you this weekend as well. All right, man. This is like episode 1 out of 50 with you. All right, I love it. All right, Brian. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. See you. Bye.